Pingu the Chef. Pingu's mom and dad were going off for the day to visit some friends.
Bye bye Pingu and Pinga.
Be good while we're away,
Called mom and dad, as they drove off in the post truck. As soon as mom and dad were out of sight, Pingu and Pinga rushed indoors to have some fun.
Let's make some popcorn,
Said Pinga.
good idea.
Said Pingu. Pinga found the corn while Pingu got the pan ready on the stove. Ding, ding, ding. The corn bounced into the saucepan. As it cooked, the corn burst open, pop, pop, pop. Pingu and Pinga munched away until there were only 3 pieces left.
Those are mine.
Said Pingu to Pinga.
You've had more than me.
Ooh,
Said Pinga.
look at that hole in the ceiling.
As Pingu looked up, Pinga was finishing off the last pieces of popcorn. Pingu was furious.
There's only one thing for it.
Said Pingu.
We'll just have to make some more.
He opened the store cupboard, and came face to face with more corn than he'd ever seen in his life.
Wow.
Gasped Pingu. It took Pingu a very long time to get all the corn ready. The pieces came off one by one, and pinged into the box. When every bit of corn was in the box, Pingu carefully poured the whole lot into his mum's big stewing pot. Pop, pop, pop. The corn began to cook. Suddenly, the lid lifted off and out came a torrent of popcorn that chased Pingu and Pinga out of the room.
What shall we do with it?
Gasped Pinga in horror.
We can't eat all that.
We'll have to give it away.
Said Pingu. Pinga shoveled corn into the boxes as fast as she could, while Pingu loaded the boxes onto his sledge. First, Pingu visited the post office.
Would you like some popcorn?
He asked politely.
Thanks a lot.
Replied the postman, taking a box from Pingu.
It's one of my favorite things.
Next, Pingu visited Mrs. McGreedy.
Would your baby penguins like some popcorn?
He asked.
I'm sure they would.
Said Mrs. McGreedy.
Come alonging.
Yippee! Popcorn!
Cried Mrs. McGreedy's babies, when they saw a box that Pingu was carrying, and they all rushed over to start eating it. Then, Pingu decided to go to the sad, old organ grinder's house. He was sitting in his armchair, looking very miserable when Pingu arrived.
Have some popcorn.
Said Pingu cheerfully.
How nice.
Said the organ grinder.
I haven't had popcorn since I was a boy.
After that, Pingu had 1 box of popcorn left.
The baby McGreedy penguins seemed to like it.
He thought to himself.
I'll see if they want some more.
But Mrs. McGreedy certainly did not want any more. Her baby penguins all had terrible tummy ache from eating so much, and there was a popcorn just about everywhere.
Would you like any more popcorn?
Pingu asked the postman. But the postman didn't reply. He just groaned and shook his head. Then, Pinga had an idea.
Let's pack the popcorn up in one of these crates.
She said.
And post it off to someone.
The organ grinder seemed to be pleased with it.
Said Pingu.
So we could send him some more.
Pingu poured the popcorn into a crate, and then he nailed the lid down securely with a hammer. On the lid, he wrote the name and address of the organ grinder, and then, when he had stuck the stamps on, the parcel was ready to go. The postman took the parcel through his hatch, and then set off on his sledge to deliver it. The organ grinder was sitting eating popcorn, when the postman knocked on the door.
Parcel for you.
Said the postman, and put the crate down on the floor.
Makes a change.
Said the organ grinder.
I don't often get many parcels these days.
Suddenly, the crate began to shudder and shake, and then with a huge bang it burst open. Out came all the popcorn.
Oh no.
Groaned the organ grinder, banging his fists on the table.
I can't face any more.
Back at home, Pingu and Pinga were gobbling up the rest of the popcorn as fast as they could. They had to get rid of it, before Mom and Dad came home. And at that moment, not far away, Mom and Dad were saying goodbye to their friends.
Thank you for a lovely day.
They said.
Come again soon.
said their friends.
Quick Pingu. Eat some more.
Said Pingu desperately.
Mom and Dad will be back any minute now.
When Mom and Dad came into the house a little later, all was quiet.
Pingu and Pingu must be fast asleep.
Smiled Mom.
I expect they'll wake up when they see what we brought them.
Said Dad. Mom came over and lifted the cover on the bed. Underneath, she found Pingu and Pingu lying there with tummies blown up like balloons.
Hello.
Said Mom.
We've come home.
Pingu and Pingu sat up with a jolt.
We've brought you a special treat.
Said Mom.
Can you guess what it is?
From behind their backs, Mom and Dad produced 2 bags stuffed full of popcorn. Pingu and Pingu took one look at it, and dived back under the bedclothes. Mom and Dad looked at each other in surprise.
Maybe they only like homemade popcorn.
Said Mom.
I'll make some more in the morning.
The end.